Do you want to make lasting impact when you deliver speeches? There are 7 mistakes you must completely avoid. You must learn to avoid them. Mistake number, I'm going to share them with you right away. And I hope that it helps you as a business leader, as an executive, to grow and become better at public speaking, at communicating in your space. Number 1 is to look at the slides and read from the slides. Listen, let me tell you this. The slides, they are simply points. The message is embodied in you. The message is inside of you, an embodiment of the message. Refuse to make people look at the slide a lot more than they look at you. They lose the message. You lose your influence and your grip over them. I've seen many executives have been in different meetings where people put up slides and all they do is they just read the slides line by line. You know what? You could have just emailed the slide to everybody. So we just read and sit back in our offices and our homes. We cannot travel from different places, and you're probably the keynote speaker, or probably you're the CEO, or you're the head of the department, the team lead, or you have something and you're just reading from the slides. Understand, I'm not against you using slides, especially when you have to demonstrate some numbers and some graphs and all of that. But the point is, the message should come from you. You should have a connection with the people that you're speaking with. And number 2 is make sure that you maintain eye contact with the people that you're talking to. When you talk to people and they see your eyes, there's a lot more connection. I remember growing up, my father would say that even when the mouth lies, well, you can argue, but I think you get I hope you get the point that even when the mouth lies, the eyes don't. There's a way you feel when someone is talking and is looking directly into you. And we're saying you must learn to look at people, maintain eye contact, especially, but you also have to pay attention to what is culturally acceptable, depending on where you are as a person, where you're speaking. But where it is okay, learn to look at your audiences, pick people within the audience and look at them in a way that does not discomfort them. Just imagine that you're having a conversation with one person at a time within your audience. That's the way you train your eyes to look at people, to maintain eye contact. Now, number 3, do not speak too fast. That's a mistake. Many times when you speak too fast, you're giving people the impression that you're nervous. Granted, some people are fast speakers. I know that when I get into my element, when I get really excited, I can speak really fast and loud. Because I know that, I pay attention to my pace, and I also pay attention to my pitch, so that my voice modulation is beautiful. It's like singing, it's like music. So I have to maintain a certain rhythm in order to get my message across, while maintaining eye contact and making sure that I'm not speaking too fast. And when you speak in an appropriate way or an appropriate pace, you give your audience time to follow. So I would emphasize that you use natural pauses in order to emphasize your main points. Number 4, avoid the use of filler words. What are filler words? Filler words are words that you use like there are filler sounds and words that you use. Sometimes people are used to saying actually, practically, well, fundamentally, these are all filler words. These words in themselves are not bad, but it becomes a challenge when you use them too many times, repeatedly. And whenever you get lost, you use them. People use them a lot in their everyday conversations, even whether they speak on stage or whether they're talking to people, their friends and neighbors, family, they do that. I'd like to say that most people are guilty of that. I'm also guilty of that. But here's the point. Once you understand the existence of those words and that they take away from your message, you become more conscious. And if you begin to use a word over and over, suddenly this consciousness kicks in to say, well, wait a minute, I've been using this word too many times, and it is probably subtracting from the import, the weight, it's removing from the weight of my message. So what do you need to do? Practice pausing instead of using filler words. What do you do? The reason people don't pause is they are afraid they are not, they are afraid, they are nervous. If you forget your line while you're on stage, pause. Remember, take a deep breath and then continue. The thing about public speaking is that sometimes you've forgotten your lines and people do not know, except you give yourself off, except you give off that clue. People would not know. But you need to, for you to be able to get to this point of bravery, if I like, or mastery, you've got to practice again and again. But here's the lesson. Avoid the use of filler words. Well, we'll talk about filler words in depth at some point, maybe in the video, because some people, it's a natural, it's a traditional, it's a cultural thing. They have a certain accent, and the way that's this nuance that goes with their language, and you find its filler words every now and then. If you find yourself in such a space, understanding that they take away from your message if you become repeated too often helps you to be on guard. Number 5 mistake you need to avoid is poor posture. Do not stand like this, except it is part of your speech to demonstrate that. And most people do this. You clasp your hands and you come on stage, and it's as if you're fixated. That takes away the moment your audience feels that you are not confident about what you want to say. They might be nice, but it takes away from the force of your message. Sometimes people come on stage and they stand this way, and sometimes you stand like this. There's different ways people stand, but in any case, understand that a strong posture gives off confidence and helps your people to understand, the audience to understand that I'm here to serve you and I'm here to give in my best. I've come prepared. I did all the homework and here I am to do the work to serve you. People love to see that. So avoid avoid the temptation to slouch or to cross your arms or maybe to look kind of insecure. What you need to do is stand tall. Make sure that you open your hands. Give a signal of confidence. Now, mistake number 6 is do not ignore the audience. Do not ignore the audience. What does that mean? I would recommend strongly that you don't talk at your audience, but that you engage them. You use good storytelling. You use good anecdotes. You could use good illustrations. You use certain statistics to do what? To prick their attention, to get them to listen to you, to wherever their mind might be wandering to, you just say, hey, come, let's talk. You've got to learn these skills to bring them together. And what you need to do, how you get to do this, is to encourage participation and also to acknowledge reactions. I'll give you a few examples. Number one of the examples that I think right now is coming to my mind is to ask open-ended questions. I'll give an example of an open-ended question. So instead of probably saying networking is crucial for business success, you might ask, who has landed an opportunity purely through networking? And what lessons did you learn? Something like that engages your people so they want to talk about networking instead of you just saying networking brings business. Or you could also try this one. Public speaking, instead of saying public speaking is an essential skill, you could try, what's your biggest fear about public speaking? And allow for response. It's a way to engage. I'll give you an example. Recently, I delivered a speech and I was supposed to play a video. At the time, it was a 7-minute video. And I knew that 7 minutes is a long time for people to watch a video, even if an educational video, even if it's interesting. And so I told them, I said, at the end of the video, I'm going to take a sheet of paper, I'll wrap the sheet of paper, and then I'm just going to throw the sheet of paper. Anybody that the paper ball lands on, I'm going to ask the person any question from the video, and I hope to get an answer. And people came back to me at the end of the speech and said that singular act caused them to listen, to watch the video. Because some people felt, oh, it's a video at last, where I get to just switch off a little bit. But the moment I put that activity, it changed the atmosphere. You must learn to engage your audience. Do not ignore your audience. It's very risky. The other thing you must pay attention about not ignoring your audience is not paying too much attention to yourself, how you want to deliver, what you want to see, and all of that. But pay attention a lot more to, will I be serving them? Will they leave feeling happy that they've gotten something from me? So for that reason, you're putting all the techniques and learning all the ways to make sure you reach people. The seventh mistake you need to avoid, I would recommend strongly that you avoid, is weak closing. Never end weakly. Finish with a very powerful message, give a call to action, and leave a lasting impression. There are different ways you can finish. You can call people. For instance, what I told you the other time, the experience I told, the example I gave you about my speech, it was about using certain resources. And at the end of the day, I gave them an illustration where I called somebody out to count some money, and she counted the money and told me it was like £9, 2 pence. And I said, but she did not tell me how many monies. Now, how many monies doesn't really sound clear, but good English. Well, if I said, how many monies do you have there? It doesn't sound well. But if I said, how much do you have? And even if I said, how many monies do you have there? She didn't tell me I have 3 or 4 monies. She gave me the value, which was £9, 2 pence. And so I had to relate that to what I was talking about, to say, you can decide to count the days you come to this place and just see them as ordinary days, or you can decide to put value to the time that you come in here to learn. So I don't know if you got the story, but the point is I was trying to explain the difference between value and just counting time and counting days. And so that, when I stopped there, I then asked the question, so what's the value of the time you spend here? Well, I leave it to you to answer. That was like me banging, closing, and giving them something to think about. So you need to learn a way to close with a good call to action, with a big bang. So here we go. You've got the 7 deadly mistakes you must avoid as a public speaker, you must avoid as an executive communicator. So I beg you to try. I would enjoin you, I would encourage you to avoid these 7 mistakes. And trust me, you will transform the way you speak. It's almost instant. Imagine you changing your posture, changing the way you talk, reducing the R fillers, the filler words, and slowing down the way you speak, or maybe picking your pace if you speak too slow, and see how you engage with your audience. It's just going to change the way you speak almost immediately. And so I've got a resource beneath at the comment section, at the description. You can click on it, and you will see my resource, my guide that would help you to become a better public speaker. Just fast guides that will help. Even if you have something to do in the next 2 weeks, it's just going to guide you on how to prepare and to ace your next public speaking engagement. And so I hope this really hits you in the right place and strikes the right chord. And please subscribe to this channel, give thumbs up to this video, and share the video if you think someone in your team, in your business might benefit from this.